This program is proudly brought to you by Telecom Limited and Daytech.
Joining us for discussions, we have Mr. Pankaj Saxena, Director for the Australian Institute of Advanced Studies, and Mr. Arava Ravu, Business Development Officer for Edge PNG. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Now, firstly, Arava, why has access to international education been difficult for prospective PNG students and parents?
Yeah, it seems like it's very difficult and inaccessible, but in actual fact, this industry and these systems have been always available to everybody. You know, like countries like Philippines, the third world countries, the parents send their children regularly to Australia or other countries. For PNG, it hasn't been accessible. It's just the thinking. We think that it's only for the rich and well-to-do, but we think that it's only also about the universities. But there are other important sectors just below the university that provide pathways, studies, and the students can still achieve that international education qualification.
Now, Pankaj, would you say the perception has somewhat hindered the development of the sector?
Yes, I do believe that. I think other countries have moved along a long time ago. Examples like India, Indians were studying 40 years ago all over the world, and now, as you know, they're leading a lot of big major companies. I think PNG has had this, from what I've learned here, is they see it as only for the exclusively wealthy. But there are so many good options, and I have plenty of evidence now to say success stories from PNG students from my college, which we can talk about later.
Now, given the immense number of dropouts that we have every year in Papua New Guinea, we have quite a number of students who may wish to pursue further education abroad. What should they find out prior to embarking on such an endeavor?
Actually, one of the most important things is to find someone who's giving them genuine advice, an agency that has connections with schools in Australia or whichever country. These agents I've worked with so many agents in India, in Philippines and other countries. You have to find the right person, because a lot of times students who do go overseas, they end up doing courses that are of no value. What the main thing I say to students is, potential students, is find somebody who is an advisor, not a facilitator. So many times I've seen it, people go to agencies in Philippines and they say, I want to do this, and the agent says, okay, where do you want to study? And they find them a school and they send them overseas, without giving them the full information, what that course really entails, what the future is for that particular course, whether there is a potential to work in Australia after that course. They don't tell this information. That's really important. You need to find an agent that's actually giving you advice and telling you, don't do this course, do this course. Those are important factors. And the other thing I always say to students is, do your own research. If a particular agency has given you this, a particular school, do your research on that school. Contact the school, contact some of the students from there and say what they really think about the school. Are they getting the best education they can? That would be my advice.
If I can also just add on to, in just putting the numbers into perspective, I think we are now, 2 years ago, we were doing about 36,000 grade 12s coming out, fighting for about 16 to 18,000 tertiary spaces. That number is going to go to 40,000 very soon. And the number of tertiary institutions haven't really changed significantly. So that is one reason why we are looking at dynamic solutions that not only helps the student and families, but also the country as well, you know. So that's why we are getting into that space. We can't just continue to say, oh, we got 40,000 students, what are we doing about it? So as educated Papua New Guineans, we should be looking at solutions and opportunities for us and also for the student and the country as well.
Rava, could you give us a brief background of Edge Education Pathways?
Yeah. Like I said, the whole thing came about because of the immense number of students coming out, and looks to be no option for them. So this is when I also had a bit of experience in this space, about 2 years, and I realized that maybe something that we can do, an agent organization that we could set up and look for right selective partners that have the students of Papua New Guinea, their interest is protected and in their heart. And this is how it came up. I wanted to empower Papua New Guineans. So this is where Edge Education is coming in. It's basically done to speak with the Papua New Guinea student. I see the challenge of Papua New Guineans. They've never traveled student, so the forms also coming in is sometimes overwhelming. So Edge Education is there to help. We don't only facilitate, but we also counsel and advise the students so that their mind and they're prepared for that. And this is how we are looking at Edge Education.
I understand there are some specific services that you offer. Could you elaborate on them?
Yes, the main service that we offer to the student is searching and finding the right college that fits the student. As you would see, any agent would just basically just say, you come and I want to do this course. They said, fine, fill it up. For us, we go deeper. We want to really investigate what that student is interested in to represent them. And for us, we wanted to partner with Australian Institute of Advanced Studies because they do the compliance and their practice and their philosophy about disclosing information to the student is very important to them.
The first thing I made comment is do your own research. Now, I'll give you examples. There are agents who are not ethical. They don't give the right information. Yet, lots of information is available on the internet from feedback. Talk to the school, talk to the students that have gone from there and see the feedback that you get from them rather than just listening to the agency or even listening to myself as a college owner. Talk to our clients, talk to their ex-clients, independent of the school, independent of the agent. And I really emphasize that because see so many students coming over, this is what we were told. And there's 100 cases of the same thing being done. Why haven't you done your research? It doesn't take long now in this modern technology to be able to do your own research.
Now, Pankaj, could you tell us about the Australian Institute of Advanced Studies?
Sure. My background actually is as an engineer and also an educator. And that means I worked in a government college teaching in this vet sector. Now, 11 years ago, I decided to start my own college because I felt the system was becoming tick and flick, just get the students a piece of paper at the end of it and collect the money. I, as an engineer, said, no, I'm not going to do it this way. So what we did at my college was we really strengthened the course in relationship with industry. We spoke to industry. They gave us a lot of information on what they would like our students to have. So we based the whole course, our courses around that sector. Having done that, we've been able, that's where the success has really come for us as a college. I have been able to place all my students in industry with companies who are ready to sponsor them at if they perform well. So that's been the driving force and the background to setting up my college. I've also looked at the idea, people have asked me, why don't you grow another campus? I don't wish to do this because I want to keep the level with my presence there. It helps that we keep the standards higher and higher. So private college, but it's going to sound arrogant. There is not a single college that can actually boast what I can boast, and that is every single student who's graduated from particular programs, we got a job for them, and every single student, once reaching the milestone required for immigration purposes, has been granted a PR either by sponsorship or direct application. So really the main thing I want to emphasize is if a student comes to me and is genuinely serious about their studies, I promise, personal promising from myself and my staff, you will get all the support you need to succeed in what your intentions were to study in Australia.
Have there been Papua New Guinean students who have come through the EDGE PNG pathway to attend your college?
At this point, yes, only one person has come through. But now, from EDGE, they're growing this business. I recently did a show here and amazed, I'm honestly blown away by the interest. And about 1,000 people attended, and already in excess of 100 have agreed and signed up. They're in the stages of getting their paperwork being processed by so hopefully within the next, for the July intake, I'm hoping for at least 10 who will have completed their whole paperwork. And that's what I was saying, that they're at that stage.
Are you able to provide us perhaps a case study or an inspirational story documenting individuals that have come through this pathway?
Sure. I can talk about, because with PNG students, we've only had them in the last 3 years actually. So I have success stories in there. Let me talk about a few of those. The first batch of students we had from PNG, 7 of them. All of them on graduation, they worked really well. And once they graduated, we got them a job with the engineering company. And each of those students are doing fantastic. The feedback from the companies has been really positive. In fact, they're looking for more students from PNG as well, from us. A lot of these companies, in fact, is interesting. They're working, they actually are doing projects in PNG. So that's actually added to their requirements for the PNG. It works well for them. In terms of success, I have students who are now just reached the stage after graduation and work experience that they're now ready to start the paperwork for sponsorship from the company. One of the success stories, and so that's the success story so far with the PNG. Other students we've had for in the past 10 years, now I had Indian students and South American students who've actually graduated, started working with these companies, and then the companies have sponsored them for their permanent residency. Now, I'm going to give you some numbers of the kind of salaries these students have got. Last year's my graduate students, their starting salary was between $70,000 and $85,000 a year. These are some of these students who just finished school, 18, so they graduated by the age of 20. I have some students who went through the whole program. They're now 24 years old, permanent residencies, and earning in excess of $120,000 a year, which is actually a phenomenal salary for an average Australian. I think the median Australian salary is only $57,000 a year. So these 20-year-olds are now starting on salaries well above the median salaries in Australia. So we've got a lot of success stories from students from other countries. PNG is now just beginning because they are now at the point of being sponsored by their companies for their residency.
Now, Rava, can you tell us a bit about the average cost estimate for students who may wish to utilize your pathway?
Sure, yes. Before I just go on, the major problem that our parents and students focus is on the cost, and sometimes the cost just thinking about it just overwhelms them. So what we always do is we break down the cost for the student. So the main important cost that the student should worry about is the school fee tuition, which Pankaj can touch lightly on that. But the key cost that we concentrate on is the visa fee that needs to be paid. It's about 1,600 Aussie dollars. Converted to PNG is about 4,000. Another important cost during the visa application is the insurance that needs to be covered by the student as well. It's about 1,700 and also around the range of 4,200. And on top of that, if you haven't traveled overseas, you will do biometrics and medical. Two of them add to about 1,200 kina. We do all those services, provide them, and our service charge on that is just 3,900. We know how hard Papua New Guineans are doing it, so we don't charge a lot. And we do all the services just for 3,900 kina. And the college cost.
I'd like to add in on that one. Yeah. I think the emphasis really is for most of the students all over the world when they apply for it, what is their initial outlay? So initial outlay really is the fee that the agency charges. Everything else is mandatory. Yeah. And things like the health insurance, you must have health insurance. You must get your medical done. Mm-hmm. And the lodgement fee. So those are all fixed fees by the government, Australian government. Now, having done that, there's an initial fee that you pay to the school. And that's roughly 3 months school fees. Out of a 2-year course, you're paying the three months. That is really the amount of money that you need. I think Rava will mention, yes, can give you the exact figures that's required. The fear then becomes, is how much is the course? And I tell people, don't worry about that at this stage because it's the initial money that you need to get your visa. Once you get that visa, the great advantage is, as a parent, you shouldn't have to pay the school fees anymore because as an international student, you're allowed to work 24 hours a week. The amount of money you earn, I think Australian minimum salary is $27 an hour. So the amount of, that seems a lot of money, but at the end of it, for that, the amount of money you earn is just sufficient to pay your rent, your food costs, and also your ongoing monthly school fees. So hopefully you shouldn't have to send money from here for the actual cost of the course. So in fact, that's a really good thing because it makes the students mature and understand that they now have to pay for this. And when they're earning, while they're studying, they're allowed to work 24 hours. That's just enough money for them to survive and be able to pay the rent. They're not going to live a luxurious life that time. Once the course is finished, that's when the salaries are hitting the $70,000, $80,000 starting. That's the time when they can live comfortably. And actually, in countries like Philippines, the students send, once they've established themselves, they support their family in Philippines. I've known a family where first daughter came, she graduated and worked as an engineer, got sponsored. Then she brought her sister, and now the brother's there. I've been to the family's house in Philippines. It's an amazing transformation for the whole family. But just remember, it occurs after 2 years of hard work.
Yeah, and the whole up figure, and this is something that sets us up different from the other agent, is that they hide the cost. For us, when we do the counseling, we give them the full initial investment that is required by the parents and the students. So the all-up figure that we give them, based on the exchange rate that's existing right now, is about 24,000 kina, and the breaks up that we gave you are the school fee deposit between 10 to 11,000 kina, and the visa 4,000 kina, the international student cover another 4,200 thereabout, and the biometrics and medical 1,200 plus our service charge of 3,900. That adds up to about 24,000. That's the initial investment that is required in order for us to put a good case, showing, demonstrating to the Australian immigration that these are genuine Papua New Guinea students who are there to go and be educated in Australia. Yeah.
I mean, we are cognizant of the fact that there have been several instances where certain companies have established similar pathways but have somewhat scammed the students and the parents.
Absolutely.
To what extent are you compliant with the regulations in Papua New Guinea as well as in Australia?
When you partner with, when you go and express of interest to colleges, they do their own due diligence on the agent, and they send you the application forms that you fill in, and one of those is the SOS and also agent the practice 2018 standards. So you have to be aware of them. Those are mainly around disclosures to the student and guiding them and advising them well. So you got to be well aware of those standards, and each college have their discretion. They do their own on due diligence, and they say yes to the agents that apply to be their representatives in certain countries, and we do that. But in PNG, we also make sure that the IPA and IRC compliance or statutory compliance are also done, because those agents, they require legitimate and registered organizations.
Pankaj Saxena and Arava Ravu, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, that ends this episode of Infocus. Do join us again next week, Monday, on our regular time slot of 7 p.m. Till then, bye for now.
This program was proudly brought to you by Telecom Limited and Daytech.